I've always been fascinated by people who become more than just famous. They become actual myths. And today we're diving into one of the biggest, Carlos Gardel. He was a singer whose voice, they say, literally gets better every single year. And our guide for all this is a fantastic book called The Passion of Carlos Gardel, which really promises to pull back the curtain on the legend. I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. That's not just a cute saying, it's a real belief in Argentina. Can you imagine an artist so iconic that people swear his old recordings are improving with age? Wow, that one sentence tells you everything you need to know about the power of this myth. He's a man who seems to defy time itself. So that's the big question, right? How does a person get to be larger than life? Well, it's this wild mix of incredible talent, some truly heartbreaking tragedy, and, as we're about to see, some amazing secrets. So let's start peeling back those layers. Okay, so to really get the myth, you first have to see how it's still alive today. This isn't some dusty historical figure. No, Gardel is a living, breathing part of the culture in Argentina. And this is the stuff I find so cool, how he's just woven into everyday life. So he was called the Creole songbird, but also, kind of funny, the mute. If someone is just amazing at what they do, people will say, he's Gardel. If you've got a complaint nobody wants to hear, the saying is, go sing it to Gardel. And get this, every single day, somebody puts a lit cigarette in the hand of his statue in Buenos Aires. See, he's not just a memory, he's still right there in the conversation. But Gardel's legacy isn't just in the culture, it's in the music itself. I mean, he didn't just sing tango, he totally reinvented it. He basically took it from the feet and moved it into the heart. So, before Gardel, tango was pretty much just dance music. It was instrumental, played in brothels and back alleys for these tough guys, they called them melos, to dance to. It was all about being mean and macho. But Gardel, he grabbed that music and gave it a soul. He created the tango song, a lyrical, emotional story about longing and heartbreak that spoke directly to all the lonely immigrants pouring into Argentina at the time. And this is it. This is the exact moment it all changed. 1917. With this one song, My Sad Night, Gardel pretty much invented a whole new genre. He took all that tough guy swagger of the tango and poured the sorrow of a broken heart into it. And when he did that, he gave a voice to the soul of a nation. Just listen to those words. I mean, this was absolutely revolutionary. Back then, tough guys and tangos were not supposed to show that kind of vulnerability, that kind of pain. But Gardel made it powerful. He was giving a voice to the guy who was left behind, who was wounded, waiting for a love that was never coming back. But here's the thing. That polished superstar the world fell in love with, that was a very, very carefully constructed image. Behind that perfect smile and that flawless voice was a man of incredible discipline and some really deep secrets. 85 pounds. Just let that sink in for a second. That's how much weight Gardel lost. He totally transformed himself from about 250 pounds down to a lean 165, all through just pure, relentless discipline. His success looks so easy, but behind the scenes, it was built on just absolute dedication. And the secrets he was hiding, oh, they are just wild. He was so obsessed with his image that he refused to ever be photographed wearing the eyeglasses he desperately needed. He always claimed he was born in Uruguay. But nope, he was actually born in France. And maybe the craziest detail of all, after getting shot during an affair, he lived the rest of his life with the bullet still lodged inside him. Unbelievable. And of course, he had this incredible charm. When his own mother asked him why he never settled down and got married, he shot back with this perfectly witty reply. It was all part of the persona, the charming, worldly man who belonged to everyone and to no one. But, that clever little comeback was actually the honest-to-God truth. As one of his lovers even said, Gardel's one true marriage was to his music. He had a singular goal in life, to become a global superstar, and he let absolutely nothing and no one get in his way. And that relentless, all-consuming drive is what brings us to the final chapter, because for myth to last forever, it so often needs a tragic and untimely end. In his final 2 years, the pace he was working at was just staggering. 5 films, 50 tangos. He was working with this frantic energy, almost like he had some kind of premonition, like he knew the clock was ticking down. It's truly incredible how one tiny twist of fate can create a legend. On the last day of his life, a spontaneous last-minute trip to a casino caused him to miss his 8 a.m. flight, so he ended up on the 10:30 plane instead. And that was the one. That was the flight that crashed on takeoff, killing him right at the absolute peak of his fame. His sudden, shocking death just froze him in time. Forever young, forever the master. And the myth-making machine went into total overdrive. Remember that bullet he was carrying around in his body? Well, when it was found, it kicked off these wild rumors of a dramatic shootout on the plane. A story that was totally false, but man, it added a whole new dramatic layer to the legend. So that's the whirlwind tour of an incredible life, but honestly, it's just scratching the surface. To really get a sense of the man, his art, and his world, you've got to go deeper. And that's where the book we've been talking about, The Passion of Carlos Gardel, is just so good. It doesn't just give you his biography, it immerses you in the whole golden age of tango. But for me, the most amazing part is that it has full English translations of his songs. For the first time, you can finally understand the poetry and the heartbreak in the lyrics that made him a global sensation. So if you want to discover the full story, all the passion, the secrets, and the soul of his music, I can't recommend this book enough. We've gone ahead and put the Amazon link to buy The Passion of Carlos Gardel right in the description for you. So it kind of leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What other secrets does a myth like Carlos Gardel's still hold? We've peeled back a few of the layers today, but the true depth of his story, the one that made him immortal, is still there, waiting to be discovered. And maybe, just maybe, the answers are waiting inside that book.